Hi, Nancy here, and today I want to talk about provisional cast-ons. These three little swatches here, I've done them in the three ways you can do provisional cast-on. The first one was done off a crocheted chain, which we're going to go over. The second one was done actually crocheting the stitches right onto the needle and then releasing them. And the third one was done using the invisible provisional cast on, where you use an auxiliary yarn and then remove it and put your stitches on the needle. So a lot of people ask me which are better, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to just put it to the test, if you will. I'm going to compare all three and you decide. Some I think release a little easier. Others, I think, get a little more stretchy in the center, but really at the end of the day, I think they all look about the same. I would say my favorite probably is still the crocheted chain. It tends to keep, I want to say, the stitches more uniform. It doesn't fan out as much as some of the other cast-ons, but you decide. A lot of this stuff, it's what you learned, your first method you've learned, and that's the one you tend to stay with. One thing I want to talk about before we get started on this is be careful when you see patterns that say do a crocheted cast on, and then you get a third of the way through and it says now remove your crocheted cast on and pick up those stitches. There is a crocheted cast on. I have one on my site, that you can watch, but there is also the provisional one. So just make sure that the author was not assuming that you knew these were going to be temporary cast-ons. So, okay. For those of you that have never done this before, the easiest thing in the world to do is a crocheted cast-on or a crocheted chain. I usually use cotton. I don't like to use something that is fuzzy and it's going to leave fibers behind. When you do this, I always try to make the crochet chain larger than what I actually need as far as the size of the needle. So this is like a K hook. This is pretty big. But I would use this if I was even knitting with a size 6 needle, because I just like them big. So the other thing is, if I only need 12 stitches, I'm going to probably chain 20, just because you want to leave a little extra room. So okay, so you take your hook and then you go from underneath, give it a twist, bring it through the loop, slide it up, give it a twist, bring it through. Now don't do these too tight, because if you do, guess what? You're not going to get your hook through. So just a nice gentle motion. Okay. And then when you're all done, when you have adequate stitches cast on, then what I like to do is I put a slip knot in the end that you want to unravel. Should I have this done in advance here so we wouldn't have to stop and pull that off? Okay, so here we go. Okay, so then what I would do is I would cut this free and then pull this up and then make a slip knot. This is the end you're going to unravel. Okay, now when you're picking up on this, be sure, you see how this looks like a knit stitch on the flat side points down. Okay, the bumps, you can call them purl bumps if you'd like. The back side of this, those are your stitches. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. There's 15 of them there. Okay, if you twist this thing around, and go into the one leg of a knit stitch, if you will, it's not the end of the world. The only thing you won't be able to do is unravel it neatly. You're going to end up having to cut it out. And, it happens. So let's knit up into this, and then you can see how easy this is. So, okay, so we're just, I never do it down on the end. Okay, I just go in a few. All right. Okay. Okay, everyone. So I just keep, some people have to use a crochet hook to pull their stitches up. If it's not too tight, you should have no problem doing this, but if you need to bring a little hook in to pull them up, that's no worries. You can do this. Okay. Okay. See how nice that works? And if this didn't look right, if maybe this stitch was odd and I have to skip it, you can. No worries. It's going to be just fine. Okay. All right. So now you've got your cast on done. You've knit up into this thing, and now you can just continue on. Sure, I'm noisy over here, aren't I? And now you can just, I'll probably just do this as a purl. Okay. All right, so I'm going to meet you back here. I'm going to knit and purl a few rows here, get a little piece of stockinette going, and then we're going to release this cast on. And hopefully it'll come out as easily as most of mine do, except when it's on camera. If it's going to go bad, that's where it's going to go bad, right? Okay, I'll see you back in a bit. Okay, I'm back. I knit up a little bit, bound it off, and now we're going to pretend that our instructions are going to tell us to pull these stitches out and get them up on a needle. So remember I told you this end is the unravel end? Okay. I'm going to hold to that. So I'm going to take and undo this. Okay, and we're just going to how nicely, and as these little guys reveal themselves, I am going to catch them with my needle. So here you go. 1. Then we're going to pull this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we have 9, and there's number 10. How about that? Whew. Okay, so look how nice that came out, right? So now you would take your new color, or whatever you're using. Sometimes it's just as simple as folding this up, and it might be a hem, it might be a lot of things. But we're going to just knit up so you get an idea that these are real stitches. They're no different. Tidy up my area here a little bit. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So let's take a peek here. And there you go. See how nice that worked out? Okay, that's the first method. That's crochet chain. All right, now we're going to do the second method, which is actually crocheting the stitches right up onto the needle. So we will still have our nice piece of yarn here, cotton, same rule applies. I still like to use a cotton. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with that. We need a crochet hook, obviously. We're going to put a slip knot on our little hook. And then we're going to hold this needle in our left hand. And then I'm going to take, just like when I was crocheting earlier, I'm going to take my hook. Well, I thought I was. Look how tight my slip knot is. See, you don't want to get these things too tight. Let's try that one again. Okay, so we're going to take this underneath the needle, and then we're going to bring it through. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to take the working yarn, put it under the needle. Okay, again, under the needle, so that you crochet it over the top of the needle. Okay, like so, like so. And just like I do with my other method, I will put a slip knot on the end here, so that can be the end I pull out. I have found this is the least keen to unravel. That's been my experience. You might say, nope, I have no problem with it, but sometimes I find this to be a little stubborn. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, that's fine, I don't need this. Yeah, maybe I'll put one more on here like so. Okay, hold on here. Don't slide away on me now. Okay, so we're just going to pull that through. Okay, now I'm going to take and do a little slip knot here. All right, so now this is it. That's my provisional cast on. So I'm going to knit up on this just like I did on the other, and I'm going to meet you back here. Okay, again, I just bound off this little swatch, and we are going to release these stitches, and hopefully it comes out easily. Never can guarantee this. Okay, so we'll start by just undoing it. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Here's our first one. We have number 2. We have number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, and that little guy down there on the side is number 10. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so now same as before, here's our stitches. They look like any other stitch. These tend to be a little looser. In the end, I don't think it matters too much, but they tend to fan out a little more from that, from when you crochet it right onto the needle. So, okay, same deal. I'm going to knit up on these just to prove to you that nothing is different. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Voila. Okay, there you go. Okay, so that is crocheting your provisional cast on directly onto the knitting needle. Okay, all right, so this is our final method. This is the invisible provisional cast on, and what I have is a piece of waste yarn auxiliary yarn, whatever you want to call it. I'm still using my cotton. You can use wool, doesn't matter on this. Do a slip knot. You don't need a lot of tail because we're not going to be doing much with that. We're just going to push this off in the end anyways, okay? All right. Auxiliary yarns at the top. See this? Working yarns on the bottom, okay? We'll begin. Under, over, then grab the working yarn. Under, over, grab the working yarn. It wants to flip over, so you got to kind of watch that. Under, over, down the center, over and under, down the center and under, over, under, down the center, over, under, okay? All right. So what do we have here? We're not going to count slip knot. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay. So now I'm going to turn this, and just remember, this is a loose business right here when you knit into it, so hold on to it. Okay. That's all we're going to do. We're just going to knit. Okay, we're just going to let that slip knot fall off the end there. You don't have to do anything with it. We'll worry about that later. Okay, so I'm just going to continue knitting up like I did with the other two. I'll meet you back here, and then we're going to release these stitches. Okay, I've knit up on this one. Okay, and there you can see the little stitches right there. So we're going to undo this. I'm going to just start by getting that slip knot out of there. Okay. Now, ever so gently, just going to pull this out as I go. If you're feeling brave, you just can pull it out, but I know that makes people nervous when I do that, so I won't do that. Of course, the yarn's splitting on me. We can't do anything about that. Okay. You can always use a smaller needle too to get your stitches onto this if you want. It's totally up to you. Okay. The only thing I would not, this does not work well if you're doing casting onto a circular needle. They just twist around on that cable, and I never had luck with it. Okay, almost there. Okay. Good grief. Look at that. Okay. All right. So there's my 11 stitches. And again, I'm going to knit up on this one more time so you can see they knit the same. Nothing's different. I guess we're just going to purl our way across this one. I'll knit it. Who cares? It's okay. This one's twisted, which is par for the course. Okay. It's twisted and it's split too. Double. Okay. Oh dear. I almost lost that. Nice save. Okay. All right. So now, as you can see, this knit up exactly the same as the others. This one is the invisible provisional cast on, and I hope this helped you comparing the three of them and find one that works best for you. Thank you.